of All China Youth Federation, Ms. Vivian Kong, our proud Olympic gold medal winner, and athlete of the Hong Kong Sports Institute, welcome. And Mr.张胜量, New, renowned pianist, welcome. Thank you very much, everyone. Please be seated on stage. And now, Mr. Leung, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Laura. Hi, everyone. This is the last panel, and I feel very pressurized. But since we're talking about positive thinking now, so I'll put my positive hat on, and I hope you enjoy the last session. Now, global transformation and technology advancement have created countless opportunities for our young people. But at the same time, we are faced with new competition and obstacles every day. How do we handle pressure? How do we handle challenges? How do we handle failures? By nurturing positive thinking, young people can be proactive, resilient, and have the mental strength to face adversity head-on. And at the same time, we have to realize that more and more young people show their eagerness to give back and to participate and to contribute to the society. I think this is all part and parcel of what we are talking about today, positive thinking. Here in Hong Kong, the SAR government has organized and supported a vast array of initiatives to nurture positive thinking. We would like to equip our young people with various soft skills, versatility, team spirit, and confidence for their exciting life journey ahead. Now, I'm delighted to be joined on stage by a young, prominent, world-renowned pianist, a world #1 and newly crowned Olympic gold medal fencer, a legislator with whom I've known and worked closely on youth matters for 20 years, and last but not least, an old guy who has been with the government for a long time, left for the private sector, and has since shown no sign in stopping in contributing to the community. Now, together, we hope to share our experiences and exchange ideas on how to nurture positive thinking and help young people build a bright future ahead. Now, before we start, let me again invite you to scan the QR code and let us have any of your questions during our discussion. And may I start first with Raymond, who, as I mentioned, who has worked as a government official from a very young age. And if you could share some of your experience when you were young, and what attributes do you think the current young generation should acquire? Thank you.
Thank you, Clarence. When I was called by Clarence, like a few weeks ago, inviting me to come to this summit, and then I asked him what is the summit is all about, and he told me it's a youth development summit. And then I was about to ask him whether he has mistakenly mentioned it's actually the elderly commission that he want me to come and share. But since he invited me, so here I come. He asked me to recall my very early days as a young government official. Actually, I joined the Hong Kong government, and it was not yet Hong Kong SAR government. It was the Hong Kong government in 1987. When I was just turned 24, I still remember. My very first posting was in an office called Survey Office, and my boss then was Carrie Lam, so you know the situation then. But then I had a team of like 10 or 8 very seasoned, very well-experienced executive officers and other departmental staff. So the very first day when I stepped into the office, they all ignored me because I was so young-looking. They thought I'm the office boy or whatever. And then they found out that I'm the team leader. And therefore, the very first question they asked me was actually how old was I by then. And then I told them I was 24. And then the second question they asked was, what grade were you in at that time? And I said I was an administrative officer. And then they started to behave. So sometimes at that time I learned sometimes the positional authority may be useful, but then I said it may be good for 1 or 2 days or 1 or 2 weeks only. So I really need to work hard to earn the respect of my team colleagues. Later on, my second posting was just 2 or 3 months later. I had a very tough boss by then. Some of you may know from my Wikipedia that I studied engineering when I was in Hong Kong U. So my English standard was only up to Form 7 at that time. So you can imagine the requirement of being an administrative officer in the Hong Kong government then, especially when you had some expatriate bosses, was a very tough requirement actually, at least on my part. But I need to work very hard, and therefore I need to catch up. And what I did at that time, I bought 3 or 4 very thick dictionaries and put them on my desk. And each and every time I need to write an article, I need to look at the dictionary. And then 20 or 30 years after, when I look back now, today, Clarence, if you ask me what attribute would a young AO or a young people should have, I would have a very different perspective. At that time, in the 80s, the formula for a successful career in the Hong Kong government or in general in the community then is you study hard, you work hard, you can get yourself got into a good university, you find a decent and stable job, perhaps a Hong Kong government job, then you are good for the rest of your life. But these days, as I detect, especially when I look at my 2 young adults at home, they are all looking for a sense of purpose. They really need to have values. They really need to have a good answer as to why they spend their time and efforts on a certain career. And they are looking for meaning rather than just achievement. So sense of purpose, I think, is a very important thing that we have to nurture, or they want to have that. And then the second area is that we are increasingly having emphasis on EQ. Or I put it this way, your personal relationship with others in your office and in the community. So as I mentioned to my young colleagues in the Jockey Club, that these days, 識人好過識字, you really have to nurture your good relationship and build up your own network. And the important point is that you have to build up your network from the very beginning. You cannot build up your network when you become the policy secretary here, because she will be too senior for young people here. But you have to build up your relationship with her subordinates. Then when they become policy secretary, then you will have direct access to them. So that's another thing. But last but not least, they all need support from us. And this is something that not from the younger generation or not from young people, but from the old guy, from the big corporation like us. We have to give resources. We have to give opportunities. We have to give platforms for them to pursue their dreams, to pursue their second or third or whatever career. So that would be my initial response to your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. And just to clarify from a personal first-hand experience, our policy secretary is actually have very friendly relationship with all young people, especially in the office, as well as in the community as well. Okay, going over to Kenneth. Apart from youth development work, I think you are even better known for your work in development for sports. How do you see, what are the synergies, and how do you think sports can help young people nurture positive thinking?
Okay, thank you, and it's a great honor to be here and invited. I've known Clarence for many years, 20 years, right? And one thing that Clarence always reminds me of is not to speak too long. I'm a legislator, so I talk for a living, and I always talk too long. And my friend Andy and Ken over there told me that actually they want to listen to the 2 champions talk and not the 2 of us. So, but please give me a few minutes to express my view, and I'm sure I'll pass it on to the real champions. I am in the Olympic Committee, amongst other work. So sports is very dear. Development of sports. True sportsmen is over here, but development sports is very important. And I really believe sports has a role to play in society all over, right? So in preparing for the topic today, as most people would do, they would Google. So I Googled, what are the traits of people with positive thinking? And what came up was a few things. Courage, optimism, gratitude, acceptance, changing your perspective, and of course, smiling and be kind to others. And I looked at it, those are actually describing Vivian, right? Can we have a round of applause for her? 微笑劍后, huh? Yeah, so I think positive change. Talking about sports, I'm sure you know the Olympic motto, right? Higher, faster, stronger. But in 2021, the Olympic Committee actually discussed it and added one word in the end: together, togetherness. So higher, stronger, faster, these are all personal traits. You achieve better on a personal level. You compete. You get better yourself. But it's important to remember solidarity. It's important to remember that while achieving personal success, it's not in the detrimental to others. And sometimes teamwork and working together and actually achieving a common goal and actually achieving something higher, it's actually even more important. And I think this is, you know, if you just sit back and think about this motto, it's actually happening all over the world. In the past decade or so, we're seeing countries' geopolitics changing like never seen before, right? Countries and countries or societies, so type people, they are competing against each other on multitude, on different areas. Technology, we discussed today, right? Geopolitics and all this. And we are seeing a world where we are slowly drifting apart. Protectionisms are being put in place. I don't need to expand more. You, our audience, are very aware, and this is what we're seeing right now. And this really compares to a few Olympics back. Remember 2008 in Beijing Olympics. The world was a very different place. Then the motto, the song goes, 大門常打開. It was a very open place. It was all about, world trade. It was all togetherness. So when I think about 16 years ago or 18 years ago, actually a lot of young people now, from their perspective, they might have only seen one side, which is actually the world being more protectionist, people drifting apart from each other. So I think this is very important to see. And I believe that sports really has a role to put things into perspective, how we can use sports into instilling the values of, say, fairness, respecting others, working as teamwork to achieve a higher goal, acceptance of loss and defeat, and how to make yourself better, and changing your strategy to achieve different goals. So these are things that we are really seeing what athletes and people participating in sports can do. So with that, I will stop right now, but I think there are a few more issues that we can discuss in terms of sports, and also about what young people are facing nowadays, and how we can do it through participation in sports, and how on a whole, in terms of policy, the government or even society can put in place to put sports in a different level to help the society in general. Darren?
Thank you. Thank you, Kenneth. Excellent control of time. It just, especially when you mention the traits on your Google search, it kind of reminds me of something that we did actually 20 years ago, Kenneth. We were involved in a project called Hong Kong Spirit Award, Ambassadors Award. And when we talk about Hong Kong Spirit, I think Vivian, you went on live TV after you won and you talked about Hong Kong Spirit, and I think everyone, we were all captivated by your interview, also obviously by your performance. So may I ask the audience again to congratulate Vivian again, and can you show us, I know you brought a little something to show Hong Kong, to show our audience live. Thank you. So again, what an excellent performance, but we've seen everything on TV, but tell us more about what's behind TV. What's in your mind when you prepare for or during the big competition? So can you share with us, and how would you handle pressure and challenge, especially when you were down in a very important match? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. Thank you, everyone. It's so lovely to see everyone here, and I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to represent Hong Kong, represent everyone here, and you mentioned that we're all champions, so I want to share this with all of you. And everyone could be having a really good weekend, but we're here trying to learn, trying to grow, and you guys are all here trying to learn more and become better people. So you guys are champions, yay! So thank you. I think I'm so lucky and privileged to be able to be an athlete. We have so much support. and to pursue our dreams and to have so much recognition, to have everyone be able to be even interested in watching us compete and wake up in the morning. I'm just so grateful, and I really wanted to represent us well, and I wanted to help us all win. And leading up to the Olympics, I was really nervous. But every time I was nervous, I would turn and channel all that energy into training. So the more nervous I got, the more training I did. And that gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I'm doing everything I can to fence the best that I can at the Olympics, and that I shouldn't be scared, I shouldn't be worried about the result, and I just wanted to represent everyone well. So when I was down, I thought it was really embarrassing, and I thought this wasn't me, I can do so much better. I'm better than this, and I just focused on one touch at a time. And then I won, yay, thank you.
Thank you. I think all of Hong Kong has could feel the positivity from your match, and we were all very happy for you. Last but not least, the youngest of us all here, New. Although you are the youngest of us all here, but you've actually been performing all around the world for the past 20 years already. Now, I understand that you were particularly hard hit during COVID. And tell us about how you managed to overcome your struggles, and how do you think music can help foster positive thinking among young people? Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me here, and what a pleasure to talk after 3 really insightful sharings. So back in 2018, I actually became a Hong Kong resident through the Quality Migrant Scheme right after graduating from the Juilliard School. And I was so ready and excited to start a career as a full-time pianist without the need to balance between school and concerts. But just 1.5 years into this journey, the pandemic suddenly started, and all of my concerts and recordings were canceled, leaving me feeling really lost, as my life has been devoted to concerts since I was 6. So during that period of isolation, every day my only audience was myself, and I felt that my practices all went like nowhere. At the same time, all the news cycling on the TV constantly gave me a strong urge to help in some way. But since I couldn't perform publicly, I thought about music composition, which is another passion that I always had. So I wrote a piece, filmed myself, and uploaded online, like driven solely by the wish to encourage others during that difficult time, and kind of forgot about that. So after a while, when I restarted the discussion with my record company, Universal Music, about one canceled recording of Beethoven's music, they suddenly brought up the idea of including that composition I wrote in the same album alongside Beethoven's most famous Fifth Symphony. And that was such a shocking and dream come true moment for me, and really significantly turned my musical career into a composing pianist. So this whole thing really opened up new doors for me, including a performance at the Hong Kong Countdown 2 years ago, where I actually arranged and played a medley of 9 most famous classical music in just 5 minutes. And this medley actually became a highlight in all my recent years' concert tours. And I learned that maintaining a passionate spirit with a kind heart and an open mind can really turn the hardships in life into unexpected opportunities. So with more skills in hand, I actually become more actively thinking about how I can contribute back to the society. So in recent years, I've visited many special primary and middle schools in Hong Kong for children with special needs, and played together with them. So besides playing instruments, seeing them express themselves through other kind of creative arts, like sand drawing, while I improvise on the piano, is truly one of the most special moments in my life. And the smiles on their face at the end of those performances really proves how music and art transcend boundaries. So at the end, I just really want to say that Hong Kong, for me, is truly Asia's world city, embracing the young generations from different walks of life with endless possibilities. And I hope we can continue to stay positive, inclusive, and foster our community with creativity and understanding. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think what Yu was saying just now, the second part, about how you want to contribute back to the society. In fact, I think this is part of the positive thinking mindset. What I have, I've got now on my iPad 3 questions. So one of the questions concern about giving back, volunteering. So the question goes like this: what kind of young youth initiatives, programs, or volunteer opportunities can effectively foster the development of character, empathy, and a sense of social responsibility among young people? So I don't know, anyone, it's for everyone. So maybe Kenneth, you want to give it a first go first?
Okay, sure. Very quickly, because we, as the Olympic Committee, we always take our team to all over the world to compete. And actually, of course, the center of the athlete. But the person or the people we meet the most and we meet first are the volunteers. So they are the unsung heroes of any games that are being organized. And it really makes a difference. I want to share a story here. Just in Paris, there was one volunteer who looks Chinese, and I was very amazed. She was helping our team, Hong Kong, and she spoke fluent French, she spoke fluent English, spoke fluent Cantonese and Mandarin. I was so impressed. I thought she was Hua Kiu, local Chinese in Paris. And after asking, she said, no, she's a first-year student in Hong Kong U. So young, positive, bright young student in Hong Kong decided to put up their hands and apply for volunteer work in Paris to serve the team, to get the experience, to give back. This is what a lot of Hong Kong people, young people, are about. In many games since, even Beijing to Asian Games, a lot of our Hong Kong young people are very willing to give back to sports and give their time. And actually what I find is they are very capable. They are worldly, they're great at languages, they're good at, giving back and actually serving the sporting arena. So this is something that I think is our advantage, Clarence. I think this is something that is actually very unique. And I see the passion. I was talking a few days ago with actually Shirley as well, youth volunteer, and it was maybe 15 years ago. We were selecting the first batch of the volunteer program, where Hong Kong young people would go to impoverished areas in mainland China to serve as maybe teachers or volunteers for 6 to 9 months. And one thing we were worried about is that, can they take the hardship? Would they give up after 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Because they are carrying the Hong Kong SAR flag, but not one single person gave up. They went through the whole experience, no matter how tough it is. So this is the Hong Kong spirit. We're willing to give back, and we have the ability to give back, and we have the stamina, we have the will, we have the perseverance to really give back to society. And this is what I see all over in sports and outside of sports and youth work as well. So kudos, and it's great for our Hong Kong young people. Keep up the good work. I'm sure with this work, we will be recognized, and this is something of our Hong Kong strength.
Thank you, Kenneth. And I think it's, thank you for mentioning volunteerism, and thank you for mentioning what happened. I don't think it's as long as 15 years ago, maybe more recent, 10 years ago. But in fact, this program is restarting.
Service corps, right?
Yes,
yeah.
This program is restarting, and I think we'll be going to recruit again, and I'm very sure that we will get young people willing to help and service some of the impoverished regions in the mainland and help be volunteering teachers. At the same time, I think this year we're sending 25 young people, and thanks to the help of the central government of our great country, we are able to have 25 placements with different various United Nations volunteering organizations. So places like UNESCO and so on and so forth. So we're sending those 25 young people, bright young Hong Kong people to service for over 6 years. So they're going to places like Nepal, Cambodia, Thailand, for example. And I know that they will enjoy themselves. It will not be easy, be away from home, but the fact that they are willing to contribute, I applaud them. Sorry, yeah, Raymond, would you like to add to that?
I just want to comment by looking at 3 areas that we can all give back to the society, or we can contribute. First of all, of course, at individual level, like what I mentioned in the very beginning, these days, young people actually look for a sense of purpose. And very fundamental, or the core contents of which is that they would like to find some way to give back to the society. So individually, to be a volunteer in a sports event or in an NGO or events or whatever, could be one very effective way. But the second area that you guys can also consider is to follow the footstep of Vivian. She's going to join a very good charitable organization called Hong Kong Jockey Club from tomorrow. Because the very nature of our cooperation, not for advertisement, is that our sense of purpose is to give back to the society and to help NGOs to do that. We have a funding scheme called JC Volunteerism. I hope I get the title right. That we will help NGOs around town to pursue this very worthy cause. Last but not least, wearing my old hats, I think one area that we sometimes would forget is to give back to the society, to serve the community. One of the most effective way is to join the Hong Kong government, because you really have to sacrifice yourself and really to help the entire community to have a better policy environment, to have a better society to live and to work in. So for young people, if you are willing, I would strongly encourage you to join the Hong Kong SL government to give yourself back to the society.
Thank you, Raymond. That's why I joined the government after having a conversation with Raymond. I actually just got a very nice question coming in, and thank you, whoever that is. You haven't given me the name, but I think this is a very good question, maybe for the younger generation on the stage. With social media algorithm, suddenly my tongue is all numb, potentially showing content that cater to the audience's interest, with the risk of reinforcing a certain mindset, which at times could go to extreme or lead to depression or comparison. How could young people build a positive and neutral mindset to address this? So, you know, social media, there's a lot of content. You only read the things that you are interested in, and obviously we talk about cyberbullying as well. So anyway, this is the question, and how do we keep a positive and neutral mindset to this? Niu, you look ready to answer that?
Maybe first of all, we should build a better internet environment. I think that's a very important thing, because actually I'm totally aware of the fast growing of the social media. So I'm actually also doing some things to match the short attention span of the modern people. So actually that idea of medley, or even shorter, I created something just within 1 minute, during which you can listen to 10 different classical music, you see. So I think, from my perspective, I try to look for things that is more helpful for either my career or my mental well-being. And I try to create more content that's very short and exciting for people. So I think one of the ways to have a better internet environment is very crucial these days.
I think when I was in college, we had a professor, and she asked us to write down a list of values, where our personal values, like what's important to us. So from 20, we cut that down to 10, to 3, and we could write anything we thought was important in our lives, whether it's family, learning, giving back to society, finding a sense of meaning and purpose. And I think when we go through this exercise and have this list written down and have our priorities, it's easier to make hard decisions, or when you don't know what to do, or when you think you've lost yourself, or maybe we don't know ourselves enough to make such a list. And I think it's really important to be able to learn and listen to different viewpoints and to just find what matters to you most. And I think when I was an athlete, I still am, I think I will be forever. It was really hard to find meaning and purpose in training every day, especially during COVID, because we didn't have any competitions, and I was just super worried about whether or not I'd catch COVID or not, and whether or not it would affect my performance. And it just felt so selfish because people were sick, and the world, there was so much going on, and all I was supposed to care about was myself and being healthy and hopefully winning like something like this, which didn't feel like it could change anything. So it took a lot of thinking and reflection to find purpose and meaning into what I was doing. Even though it was my passion, even though I could do this every day for the rest of my life, I had to find a purpose to it. And that was to be able to give back, to be able to hopefully inspire more people, more youth to dream and to work really hard and to enjoy every day.
Okay, thank you. I think we have time for one last question. Thank you again for whoever entered this question. It's a very important question, but it's quite heavy. How do you see Hong Kong's unique position as an international hub with strong support of the motherland and at the same time being closely connected to the world, is fostering an environment that allows youth to unleash their full potential in society and contribute to society, the country, and the world. Now, I think Niu just mentioned earlier that you think Hong Kong is truly an Asia world city and gives young people or youth development countless possibilities. But let's hear from, say, maybe Kenneth or Raymond. What do you think? Hong Kong, we have a unique position. How can we do more, or is the environment great for young people to develop here?
Maybe I just say a few words in the interest of time. Whether I was, in my good old days in the government or these days, I always think that under one country, two systems, Hong Kong has a unique contribution to the nation's development, and that is internationalization. I think that is the very core mission of Hong Kong under one country, two systems, that we have to maintain Hong Kong as an international city with an international outlook. Our strength lies in 3 areas. One, international good practices and rules. Second one is international connectivity. And third one is international talents. I think we have to work all together to make sure these 3 dimensions under internationalization will still to be the case. Otherwise, we will not be able to contribute. And on that premises, I think for our young people, you have to really have an international horizon by yourself. You really have to go out. You really have to see the world for yourself. Don't narrow your mind. Don't keep yourself. Do keep yourself with an open mind. Just like Hong Kong, we have to keep Hong Kong as an open economy. We have to keep Hong Kong as an open society, very inclusive. We embrace diversity. And because of that, we can truly be an international city. And that is why I would urge all of you to maintain your international outlook. If you feel that you are not good enough to that, then you have to go out and see the world. And we are still in summer holidays, so you have to buy your tickets and go to the airport with us tomorrow morning. We will be at the airport waiting for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond, and thank you for bringing this up. Here at the Home and Youth Affairs Bureau this year, we have sponsored over 40,000 spaces for youth exchanges to mainland as well as to the rest of the world, and also internship programs. So you're welcome to either join in summer, and if you think you've got summer all filled up, it's only a few days left. I think some of the tour groups or exchange will happen during Christmas or Chinese New Year or even Easter holiday. So do plan ahead. Thank you. Kenneth?
I think you wrote that question for the stepping up to an advertorial that you just did it. But it's great, yes. I am also a recipient of such said funding, which is great. Back in my school days, we didn't have at all these fundings that we could allow us to go to mainland to overseas. But on this, very agree on Raymond's point. But two things. I think to have a positive thinking, obviously our young people needs to be positive and needs to see the opportunity they will be getting in the future. It's to see the possibility. And I think with one country, two systems, as you mentioned, but more importantly, one country, our economy. Now we're seeing that Chinese economy is growing in all sectors in the fields. And it's very important to know your country, know where direction it's heading towards, and how do you fit into the whole puzzle. This is number one. And number two, to get the advantage, we need to have an international perspective. Because, as we say, our doors are always open. We embrace a togetherness society, and Hong Kong really serves as a bridge. So today, I'm very happy to see His Excellency from Saudi Arabia and also Malaysia and Laos here at these forums. And during lunch, we've been talking through sports. Hopefully, we will be able to, through the Olympic channel, not maybe just elite sports, through Olympism, can we use sports as a tool to have our young people of different nations to engage in positive conversation, in positive collaboration, for young people in Hong Kong and young people from Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, to see and really make friends all over the world. I think the world should be getting smaller with technology. We are more together. We should be getting more together. And through sports, through art, through culture, through technology, this can happen. But as a mindset, it's very important. We need to be open-minded. We need to learn about different cultures. We need to learn about differences and mutual respect about differences. These are the values that contribute towards the positive thinking. So I'm very, again, very positive about the role sports can play in society, especially young people. So this is what I can add to what Raymond mentioned.
Thank you. And you are using sports as a means, and you also got funding from the Home and Youth Affairs Bureau on a positive thinking program.
Funny you mentioned.
Yes, to nurture at least 1,000 Hong Kong young person to positive thinking activities.
Activity through Olympic Committee, for them to try new and upcoming sports, and just to get closer to champions like Vivian, so we get, the inspiration from them and the kind of the way they could participate to lead a healthy and positive lifestyle.
Thank you, Kenneth. Now, I think we have only time for each of our guests to give us a 20 seconds at most take-home message for all of our audience today, as as a parting gift. This time, I would suggest we start from the youngest one to the oldest one in the panel. Thank you.
Okay, I think my message will only be 10 seconds. So I really think that by staying positive, inclusive, and always be kind with great hope, we will have a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Vivian, please.
I'd like to say that every one of you is very special, very unique, very beautiful, and there's just so much hope in your futures and lives, and there's just so much to hope for, so much to look forward to, and I look forward to cheering every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. And remember to smile, right? Okay, Kenneth, please.
Okay, I would encourage everyone to step out of your comfort zone. It's very easy to sit around your comfort zone and do what you've been doing yesterday. But without trying, without jumping out of the comfort zone, you never know you like it or not. You never know you succeed or not. Even though you fail, it doesn't matter. Like most are sportsmen, they don't get to gold medals in first attempt. There are many failures that follows, and then success will follow. So do jump out of the comfort zone, try what you haven't tried before. You might be surprised.
Thank you. Raymond?
Just 3 words. Be strong, be resilient, and be young, even though you are at 60 years old. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think, me not being the oldest, obviously, but I also like to have a very short message for young people here, twofolds. One is always stay positive, and there is always a better tomorrow if you work hard. Secondly, please follow the Home and Youth Affairs Bureau social media account, especially download our youth app, okay? Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you all our panelists. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clarence, and our panelists. Could we have everyone to please step slightly forward for a photo for the camera, please? That's right, stand slightly closer together. Wonderful. I think you would agree with me that this was the most illuminating and positive panel. So please look straight ahead with the official photographer and smile for the camera. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Keep that smile going. Once again, I would like to invite everyone to please put together a round of applause for our wonderful panel on nurturing positive thinking amongst young people for a brighter tomorrow. Once again, a big thank you to our moderator and our speakers. That is very nice, beautiful. That would be most beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. We would now like to invite our panelists and moderator to exit from stage left, please. So the message of kindness, the message of positivity, and the message of stepping out of our comfort zone are the key takeaways from our thematic session 3. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the thematic session 3 and also the end of the summit today. Thank you most of all to everyone for joining us at the inaugural event. Your presence and your participation have made this summit a truly enriching and memorable experience. Special